Did you hear me, Mary? Please. You deserve this.
It started with a writer, a nanny, and an attraction that gets out of control. In Deadly Illusions, Mary hires Grace to help around the house. But Grace isn't just any nanny. She's young, soft-spoken, and sexy in a way that's hard to ignore. The way she looks at Mary, it's intense. Is Grace seducing her or setting her up? Things go from casual to charged real quick. Touches, looks, moments that linger too long. Let's dive into their story. The movie starts with Mary, a confident and successful writer, who's paused her career to focus on her kids and husband. One day, Mary's publishers showed up with an offer, a chance to get back to writing.
What is this?
We have an offer for you.
One more book in the series and we can make it over the edge? Get through the transition?
At first, she was firm, telling them no. She needed her break. But when she found out her husband was running low on money, she couldn't ignore the pressure. Reluctantly, she agreed to start again. Still, something didn't sit right with her.
You've never seen me when I'm writing. I turn into a different person.
As she began working on her new book, the demands quickly overwhelmed her. Her friends suggested hiring a babysitter to help with the kids.
Oh, what you mean to say is nanny.
She decided to give it a try and began searching for someone suitable. That's when Mary met Grace. Sweet, innocent, or at least that's what it seemed. She looked perfect, with a smile that could disarm anyone, and a way with the kids that made Mary's guard drop fast.
Definitely need some help next week if you're up for it, because I'm starting a new book.
Mary didn't hesitate to hire her. Grace settled into her role effortlessly. The kids adored her.
Today was so fun. See you first thing in the morning?
But it was the way Grace cared for Mary, quiet, attentive, and in ways Mary never expected. Mary and Grace went shopping, laughing like everything was normal, but the tension was building. In the fitting room, Grace made a move. It was close and intentional, deliberate. Then she held her gently, right against her chest. The moment was bold, intimate, seductive. She fled to her husband, trying to bury the memory, but Grace was everywhere in her skin, in her blood, in every restless beat of her heart, or the way her smile haunted every corner of her mind. So she shared her thoughts with her friend, how things with Grace felt.
She's this master seductress, and I'm just her lapdog waiting for the next treat.
Her friend advised her to be careful, to watch Grace closely. That evening, Mary walked in to find Grace and her husband talking, laughing quietly. Something in her shifted. Mary needed help for an event. When Grace sensually zipped her dress, the tension exploded. Danger was rising, but Mary didn't care. At some point, Mary could no longer fight it. Grace touched her in ways she couldn't explain, soft, intentional, lingering. It wasn't just physical. It felt like her body was reacting to something her mind was still trying to process. They shared a moment that felt too perfect, just the two of them, dancing together in the quiet. It was intimate. It was real. She imagined an intense moment with Grace. It was so vivid, she couldn't shake it.
What happened the other day could never happen again.
And in the heat of that moment, Mary gave in. She stopped thinking, stopped holding back. Grace's touch was slow, certain, and it sent a rush through her body. Every boundary Mary once had faded, and in that moment, nothing else mattered. The moment replayed in her mind. She wasn't sure it really happened. Mary buried herself in work. She pulled away from everyone, especially Grace. But Grace didn't back off. She got closer to the kids, and closer to Mary's husband, always around. Then one day, Mary and Grace went on a hike together. Just the two of them. No distractions. No hiding. And this time, Mary stopped pretending. The way she looked at her, full of something unspoken. A moment that felt like it was finally allowed to happen. The way her hand brushed against hers. She couldn't ignore how Grace made her feel. And then Mary gave in. Their lips met. It was soft, slow, and full of everything they'd been holding back. A moment that felt like it was finally allowed to happen. Mary got home late that night. Her husband was waiting. And her friend was there too with a warning regarding Grace and her husband.
First, you're just criticizing Grace.
But Mary brushed it off and a heated argument followed. Meanwhile, Grace and Mary's husband started to get close. Too close. Grace was calm, calculated. She started slipping into spaces that weren't meant for her, and eventually, trying to seduce him. One night, Mary went to bed early, exhausted and emotionally drained. But in the middle of the night, something pulled her awake. She stepped out of her room. There they were, her husband and Grace. Her chest tightened and froze. She confronted her husband immediately, the words spilling out before she could hold them back. It all exploded into a fight. Accusations, confusion, betrayal. But in the end, they managed to settle everything, and Grace was chased away. However, when Grace realized her secret had been uncovered, she snapped. Without hesitation, she launched an attack this time, targeting Mary's husband. Just in time, Mary burst in, determined to save him. But Grace turned on her instead. What followed was a brutal fight. Mary fought with everything she had, and in the end, she won. As Grace lay in her arms, barely breathing, Mary held her close. Grace had multiple personality disorder. She took her to a proper hospital, where Grace could finally get the help she needed. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more just like this. Thanks for watching.